Games Master, the 1992 hit TV series where iconic challenges, cheats, and more innuendo than you can shake a suggestively shaped joystick at defined gaming's golden age. Have you ever wondered exactly how many double entendres Dominic Diamond got away with during the show's run? Or how many golden joysticks were won or lost? Join me as we dive into the show episode by episode to answer these questions and more. Welcome everyone to the Games Master Retrospective. In this series, I'm going to be showcasing each episode of the show, going over the season-by-season change of setting, giving some context to the celebrities of yesteryear, and very possibly cackling at the fashions and hairstyles of the time. Also, if there's any particularly noteworthy incidents that occur along the way, I'll be sure to dig into them as well. When video games burst onto the scene in the late 70s and 80s, they were more than just a fad, they became a cultural revolution. Arcades buzzed with the sound of pixelated action, and home consoles like the NES and Sega Master System began to invade living rooms worldwide. By the early 90s, gaming wasn't just a pastime, it was a burgeoning industry and a fully fledged subculture. Enter Games Master! Produced by Hewland International, the program was the brainchild of Jane Hewland, who recognised there was a gap in the market after becoming obsessed with her son's NES game, Duck Hunt. After a heavy sales pitch to Channel 4, when the series finally hit our screens in 1992, it was an immediate ratings hit. The format of the program was reasonably straightforward, consisting of celebrity appearances, reviews, consultation for tips and cheats, as well as an opportunity for someone to take home the coveted golden joystick. Every season of the show had its own specific setting and theme. For season 1, we have The Church, which was actually filmed in St. Paul's Church in London, an absolutely gorgeous building that is now a children's nursery. I wonder if anyone working there now watched the show back in the day. The show will also have a thematically dressed helper. In this season, we have a monk played by Dave Perry, who we'll be hearing a lot more from during this series, as he will have a much larger role in the show further down the line. Each season also had its own title sequence, which has to be seen to be appreciated. Yes, indeed! 2 years before Reboot and 4 years before Transformers Beast Wars, this little show was showcasing cutting-edge CGI! Well, close enough. Anyway, our host is Scottish TV and radio personality Dominic Diamond, who sums up the show perfectly.
Welcome to Games Master, television's first ever video game magazine show. Especially designed for people out there who find Pictionary pointless and Kaplunk a waste of marbles. Each week on the show, we'll be reviewing new games, giving away exclusive tips and cheats, and casting our eyes over the latest hardware and software developments.
Now, as well as all this trailblazing computer-related malarkey, Games Master is infamous for at least one other thing.
So, if you've ever dazzled your local arcade inhabitants with your hard-driving prowess, or simply enjoyed a waggle of your joystick in the privacy of your own bedroom, this is the show you've been gagging for.
Oh, Dominic, you dirty boy. How'd they let this stuff slide on public television at 6:30 in the evening? To keep track of Dom's dirty dingers, I've created the Dominic Innuendo Counter, or DIC for short. Let's mark that one off, and on we go. And of course, we can't forget the show's namesake, the Games Master, portrayed by the late, great Sir Patrick Moore. And once again, I'll let Dominic do the introductions.
I'd like to introduce to you a man who you'll be seeing a lot more of in the next 10 weeks, the ultimate computerized couch potato, the Games Master.
Greetings. So, you'd like to pitch your skills against one of my little challenges. Commendable pluck indeed.
Now, Sir Patrick Moore must have struck the 1992 audience as a bit of an odd choice, as up until this point, Sir Patrick was mostly known for his BBC Two show, The Sky at Night, a programme dedicated to astronomy. In a 2014 interview with series mainstay Dave Perry, he was asked how the prolific astronomer came aboard. It turns out the producers originally wanted a child to play the role.
We auditioned a load of kids, but we couldn't quite find anyone who had the precociousness to carry off the role. We started to talk about quirky presenters, and someone suggested Patrick Moore. It was the nearest we could get to finding a big baby to deliver the lines.
Not exactly the most auspicious of beginnings, but by all accounts Sir Patrick was the perfect casting. Dominic Diamond has said on more than a few occasions that while the astronomer generally had no idea what he was saying, he was completely believable and would nail it in one take. What a legend! So, with the briefest of backstories out of the way, let's get into Season 1, Episode 1.
I've decided to be gentle with you, this being our first coming together, and I've plumbed for the decidedly cute Super Mario Bros. 3.
Super Mario Bros. 3, released in 1988 in Japan and 1990 in North America for the NES, is the quintessential side-scrolling platformer. Players control Mario or Luigi to rescue Princess Toadstool, now known as Princess Peach, from Bowser, exploring 8 themed worlds via the map screen. It introduced iconic power-ups like the Super Leaf to allow Mario to fly, and the Tanuki suit, along with being the introduction of Bowser's various offspring. It received glowing reviews at the time, and remains one of the greatest games on the platform.
Your assignment is to collect 50 coins in 2 minutes on the familiar first level of the World 1.
Now, joining me in the commentary box from Mean Machines and Computer and Video Games magazine is world-famous computing celebrity Julian Jazza Rigno. Julian, welcome to Games Master.
Hello.
Mean Machine Magazine was a pioneering video game publication that ran from 1990 to 1992, before splitting its brand to become Mean Machine Sega and Nintendo Magazine System. Known for its sharp critique mix of playful rebellion, sarcastic humor, and bold art style, it covered console and computer gaming culture with reviews, previews, and cheat codes. Oh, and there's Jazza himself. Our first Golden Joystick challenger is Daniel Blade from Edgeware. Looking sharp with his curtain haircut and authentic brand jumper, he admits to being tense and nervous, but sort of confident, as he is familiar with the game.
Well, we're making history here with the first ever game on Games Master. How does that make you feel?
It's pretty good. It's one of the greatest games ever, so a good way to kick off the series.
Daniel, are you ready? Then get collecting those coins.
Can we just appreciate this for a second?
The Super Mario, which I think he gives him 2 lives. If you get hit, you...
Yes, the crowd goes absolutely bananas at the sight of a power mushroom being collected. And we also have this reaction to a Super Leaf.
Oh my word, there's the leaf, just as we spoke about it. Okay, 25 tickets gone, 5...
It's genuinely nice to hear people excited about watching someone else play a game like this. It's refreshing going back to a time where people were, seemingly at least, a lot less jaded about having fun. The 90s really were a more innocent time. Daniel completes his coin collecting challenge with time to spare, and with a little flick of his curtains to celebrate, is awarded the very first Games Master Golden Joystick. And doesn't he look pleased with himself? During the inaugural joystick presentation, Dominic has this to say.
Well, the thing is, since you completed the challenge, you're the first ever winner of what we hope is going to be a more prized possession than all the Oscars, Emmys, Barrys, and even Swap Shop Erics put together.
Oh boy, this is going to take some explaining. Multicoloured Swap Shop was a British children's TV show that aired on BBC One from 1976 to 1982. Hosted by Noel Edmonds, the show allowed viewers to vote for their favourite TV, music or film stars via phone or post, and that star would be awarded the Swap Shop Star Award, also known as an Eric, named after the never-seen technician who would lower a plastic globe containing competition entries. When this episode aired, that reference was at least 10 years old, so would have likely flown over most people's heads. Mind you, I'm talking at length about a show that is over 30 years old now, so maybe I should just shut up and get on with the video. We also get another saucy non sequitur from Dominic.
Take that back to Edgeware with you, and you can put it in your hand and walk proud and erect through the high street.
I thought an old-fashioned Wild West shootout would be a good way of ending the first show with a bang. The game, Mad Dog McCree.
Mad Dog McCree was a light gun rail shooter that used live-action video clips to immerse players in a Wild West showdown. Created by American Laser Games and released in arcades in 1990, players were armed with a plastic revolver and would have to duel against bandits in quick-draw battles to save the town from the outlaw Mad Dog. The game itself ran on a Laserdisc, a precursor to the DVD format, that launched in 1978 and was considered cutting-edge technology at the time.
In this little escapade, you've been deputized, and your mission is to rid the town of outlaws in order to deliver to freedom the town sheriff held hostage in his own jail. So get your pistol hammer cocked and let's see those barrels blazing.
For the second Golden Joystick Challenge of Episode 1, we have Tony Wright from North Wales. I have to assume that the actual town name was too hard to pronounce. Tony is resplendent in a white shirt with belted trousers hoisted up to his nipples, and Dominic wastes no time in getting a bit of age-shaming in.
Now, Tony, I look at you and the word mature springs to mind. Is there a gap in the market for the older games player?
Well, the kids don't get a look in these days, really. I mean, a lot of people are going in there to use these machines as sort of stress relievers and so on. It's good after a hard day's work to unwind a bit.
Okay, well, I've had a hard day myself. Let's hope you relieve my tension, Tony.
Now there's a face that says, I'll relieve your tension any day.
And helping me co-commentate from the sidewalk is the editor of Computer and Video Games magazine, Tim Boone. Tim, welcome to Games Master.
Hi, Dominic.
Computer and Video Games magazine launched in 1981 in the UK as one of the world's first dedicated gaming publications. It set the standard for computer games magazines with reviews, previews, and cheat codes. Known for its technical deep dives and bold 1980s aesthetic, it pioneered gaming journalism. And though the magazine ceased printing in 2004, its legacy lived on through its digital successor, computerandvideogames.com, until its closure in 2015.
We ready?
Ready?
Load your pistol and come out shooting.
And come out shooting he does indeed! Tony is a beast at this game, double tapping enemies before they hit the floor and not missing a shot. He either needs to be on Team GB for the Olympics or possibly a watch list. Regardless, Tony successfully rescues the sheriff and earns himself a golden joystick.
Now for this week's feature. George Bush does it, Prince William started to do it, New Kids on the Block do it together, and so does Betty Boo. They all play their Game Boy. However, not content with merely owning the most pleasurable 6 inches of hardware money can buy, Game Boy owners are now customising their beloved handhelds.
We have a fun little segment here where people talk about customising their Game Boys in interesting ways.
I took the skateboard grips, put it on it because it makes holding it much more comfortable. Your hands don't sweat so much. And I put the essential Stussy sticker on there.
We also have this unique take on Game Boy fashion requirements.
A Game Boy comes into this world naked, and it's just begging to be designed. It's crying out to be scribbled, drawn, smashed up, and designed all over.
Anyway.
Each week, our reviews will be linked by a theme. This week, it's time to smear ketchup on your hot dog as we look at movie conversions. First off, on the Mega Drive, flex your pecs with postmodern icon Arnie in Terminator.
In the review segment, each game will have 1 or 2 talking heads, usually people from the games magazine industry, going over what makes the game good or bad, followed by a percentage score. Let's look at some highlights.
For once, it's a Mega Drive game that packs a real challenge. It's still got the great standard of graphics and sound that you come to expect from the Mega Drive, but it's also got a very high standard of gameplay.
Next up, this week's late night movie is a macabre romp around your Nintendo with the Addams Family.
For the youngsters, it's a good game, and it certainly would give you value for money in terms of playability because it's very addictive, but it doesn't really offer very much original or new.
And finally, butter your popcorn on the PC with Indiana Jones 4 and the Fate of Atlantis.
It's got all the makings of a Lucasfilm game. If you look at it, the attention to detail, the quality of the graphics, just the humorous touches and the sheer depth are really quite stunning.
Yes, we get the point.
Nice to see you again. I do hope you enjoyed my last little jaunt. Rather a competent player, wasn't he? For my second challenge this week, I thought I'd opt for a spot of football on Manchester United Europe.
Manchester United Europe was released in 1991 for the Amiga, Commodore 64 and ZX Spectrum. Developed by Chrysalis Software, the game was a relatively standard football sim for 1 or 2 players, praised for its graphics and complex yet intuitive control system.
It'll be a game of 2 90-second halves in which a talented Manchester United formation will pit themselves against the classic skills of Liverpool. I trust we'll all be treated to a display of exemplary gamesmanship.
And our 2 contestants trying to get the ball in the net tonight are Simon Reynolds from Bishop Stortford and his opponent, Wimbledon and England striker, John Fashanu.
It feels a little odd that the first celebrity challenge would include a non-celebrity, but I guess it is possible that the budget for the show wouldn't allow for too many notable names.
Now, Simon, first of all, I see you're wearing a lovely Ipswich Town top, are they? I see you brought all the supporters with you as well.
Five of us, yeah.
Is this your team or is it just a cruel joke?
It is my team, yes.
Well, my commiserations to you.
At this time in 1991, Ipswich Town FC were battling for promotion to the First Division, soon to be known as the Premier League. After a 6-year absence, they pushed through financial issues to compete with bigger clubs, often with huge success. Though mid-table finishers, they laid the groundwork for a 1992 Premier League debut, a true underdog story for the ages.
What are the tactics that we see from you in the game tonight?
Good, close, clean passing play tonight.
Lot of skill?
Oh, yes.
Well, talking about your skill, we now go into your opponent tonight, John Fashanu from Wimbledon. John, how are you going to play the game tonight?
I think, like Simon says, I think the crowd have come here to watch a nice, clean, enjoyable game in a good spirit. I think over the years, Wimbledon have built up the reputation of being fair and honest, and that's really just what we want to do.
As the crowd reaction might suggest, clean is not a word associated with Wimbledon FC at the time. In 1991, they were infamous as the Crazy Gang, a scrappy, unorthodox team known for their aggressive physical style, with players such as Vinnie Jones, who is known for his English odd man demeanour.
Take your seats, lads, and then we'll get ready to kick off. And joining me in my newly converted pulpit dugout tonight, from Software House Renegade, home of the Bitmap brothers, Tom Watson. Tom, welcome to Games Master.
Good evening, Dominic.
Renegade Software was a UK-based video game publisher founded by the Bitmap brothers. Active from 1991 to 1995, the company is best known for games like Speedball 2, Xenon, and the Chaos Engine. Their blending of pixel-perfect visuals with addictive, challenging gameplay has earned them cult status with retro gamers.
Okay then, are our two competitors ready? Okay then, John, kick off.
Now, you didn't come here to watch a Let's Play of a 1991 football game on the Amiga, so let's jump ahead to the winner. Simon fully commits to the bit by talking like a football manager, which is genuinely funny.
Congratulations, Simon. It was all square at half time, but you let him have it in the second half, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. We did a lot of research into how Bash plays, and he played into our hands in the second half. You know, the lad's done great.
Now, John, you must be sick as a parrot.
We obviously I'm a little bit disappointed. I think the crowd will bear with me. I think they thought it was a goal as well. It was obviously a controversial decision.
Just like 1966 all over again.
Exactly.
This is of course referring to the 1966 World Cup, where England beat West Germany 4-2. But you knew that, right?
I don't bear him any hard wishes, so, all the best. I'm not a bad loser.
Okay, well, John's got every right to be unhappy because he's missed out on the chance of our fabulous golden throbbing Games Master joystick.
Now then, let's talk about this glorious piece of hardware, shall we? This is the Virtuality 1000 CS headset, a groundbreaking but short-lived 90s tech relic. Released in 1991, it was possibly the pioneering virtual reality system. Retailing at over £5,000 per unit, it immersed players in 3D worlds using clunky goggles and motion tracking tech. Aside from the eye-watering entry price and bulky design, it featured multiplayer games like Dactyl Nightmare and Gridbusters. The popularity of the unit in arcades sparked early virtual reality hype, laying the groundwork for modern VR.
Hello, Games Master.
Welcome to my kingdom. I am delighted to see you. And what have you got to ask me?
On Sonic the Hedgehog.
Do I really need to explain Sonic the Hedgehog? How it was released in 1991 for the Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis if you want to get American about this? How it was created to rival Nintendo Super Mario? How it was the firing shot in Sega and Nintendo's console wars? How Sonic ousted Alex Kidd as the official Sega mascot and has a legacy that lasts to this very day? I thought not.
I heard there's a secret world on Act 3 of the Green Hill Zone. Could you please tell me where it is? I can't find it anywhere.
Indeed I can, dear boy. Though I must admit to being a little surprised that you haven't found it yet. Work through the level until you reach a solid wall. Instead of bouncing over it, however, you can break straight through it by taking a run-up and spinning upon impact. You will then be in a secret world where...
Playing pretty fast and loose with the concept of a secret world there, buddy.
Next, please.
Hello, Games Master.
Hello, and nice to see you. Now, what can I do for you?
In Elvira.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark is a first-person shooter mixed with a point-and-click adventure game. Starring the cleavage of horror hostess Elvira, the game was developed by Horrorsoft and published by Accolade, and was released on the Amiga, Atari ST, Commodore 64, and MS-DOS in 1990. Players solved puzzles and battled monsters in her mansion, blending B-movie humor with spooky vibes. It's a proper love letter to 80s and 90s campy horror with excellent graphics and sound design.
I can't find the 4-leaf clover I need for casting a spell. Where is it?
Elvira does indeed require a modicum of ingenuity. The clover can be found at the base of the hedge on the way towards the falconer in the meadow. You shall now have all the ingredients you need for casting the propitious surprise spell.
Oh, thanks.
Next, please.
Hello, Games Master. For Simon's Quest.
Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest is an infamous 1987 NES action-adventure game where you play as Simon Belmont, a vampire hunter cursed after defeating Dracula. On the titular quest, players solve puzzling clues while exploring a huge open world with day and night cycles. Its cryptic instructions and confusing mechanics have made it notorious among gamers, even as it pushed boundaries with its ambitious blend of action and exploration.
I cannot get past Deborah Cliff. What advice can you give me?
To get past the very large wall that is Deborah Cliff, you need to select the red crystal and then kneel down for about 5 seconds. A whirlwind will then appear, which will whisk you across to the other side of the wall. Rather ingenious, isn't it?
Thanks very much. Bye.
And I think that's enough little...
Well, at least it has a flared base.
Heed my advice until we meet again.
So, we kick off the series with 3 winners, but I have a feeling things are going to get a lot tougher. And now it's time for me to don my smoking jacket and have a refreshing cup of chamomile. So I'll see you again in 7 days. Good night.
And that's it for our first episode. What are your memories of Games Master? Did you watch it when it first aired, or are you aware of it through other means? Did you maybe go to one of the live tapings? Or perhaps even take on the challenge for a golden joystick? If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, and if you'd like to follow along with the rest of this deep dive into Games Master, hit the subscribe button. And as always, remember, don't be a dick.